Hello and welcome to the Oaklyn School District 2008 Bond Referendum presentation. This presentation will help inform you about the upcoming school district bond referendum election on March 11, 2008. This presentation will talk first about what the bond referendum is. Then we'll discuss why we have it, what the cost will be, and what's in it for the average citizen. First, let's talk about what a bond is. A bond is a loan where money is provided by investors who buy shares in the bond. In exchange for their money, the investors receive a promise that they will receive the principal back plus some amount of interest. Bonds provide a way for businesses to raise large amounts of money efficiently. Next, let's talk about what a referendum is. A referendum is a vote made by the people for or against a government proposal. In New Jersey, school boards must use a referendum for voter approval to issue bonds as well as their annual budgets. Neither the state, county, nor local governments require referendums for their budgets or bonds. Now let's talk about what projects are actually on the list for Oaklyn. First on the list are a series of projects for water management. The school board is planning to re-roof the entire building, update the roof drain and overflow system, and replace portions of the improperly sloped concrete at the front entrance. Additional water management projects include removing and replacing the 3 existing sewer lines that run to Kendall Boulevard, refinishing and recaulking the steel windows and frames, repairing exterior bricks, and rebuilding the chimney and liner. The remaining water management projects include recaulking the stone building joints and windows and waterproofing the building perimeter. This will prevent water from entering the classrooms from Mrs. Schrock, Mrs. Rule, Mrs. Davenport, Mrs. Sweeney, and Mrs. Handel. The next group covers safety and security concerns throughout the building. First is replacing Bilco doors in the maintenance areas and repairing a large crack over the basement Bilco door, replacing the exterior lighting, installing a card access system at the exterior doors to better manage who can enter the building and when, and making the entrances to the building more accessible by illuminating step-ups. Additional projects include installing a new PA system so that emergency announcements can be heard, then installing a security system and closed-circuit television cameras throughout the interior and exterior of the building, providing proper exhaust for our art room kiln, replacing the bleachers in the gym, and removing the ceiling fans in the cafetorium and room 137. Rounding out the safety and security projects, we have replacing the fire alarm system and adding strobes for ADA compliance, replacing the wood panels in the staff lounge with non-combustible materials, removing the wire glass panels in the center stairwell, and replacing the undersized emergency generator to ensure that the building has adequate power in an outage. The next several slides cover improvements being made throughout the learning environment for students and staff. First is replacing the existing water fountains, replacing the gymnasium air exhaust fans, removing the gymnasium folding partition and installing a roll-down divider, replacing all the door closers and levers on corridor doors, and installing a heat fresh air system for the maintenance office. The next project is repairing and refinishing sections of the walls in 4 classrooms where water has leaked into the building: Mrs. Williams' room, the science lab, Mrs. Arroyo's room, and Mrs. Steller's room. Some additional projects for the learning environment include heating and ventilation system replacement for the gymnasium, locker rooms, and the cafetorium, replacing the temperature controls throughout the building, and replacing the classroom unit ventilators to ensure adequate fresh air in the classrooms. This page rounds out the list of learning environment projects. First, we have the hazmat allowance that covers removal of any hazardous material during the project. We have replacement of the domestic hot water heater system and replacing the branch electric power boards and main service panel to ensure adequate, safe electricity throughout the building. With this list of projects, many people have asked whether the board left anything out. Our architects presented a list of all their recommended projects, and the board cut that list down to only the most critical ones that are needed now. Some of the excluded projects were air conditioning, full bathroom renovations, replacing the gym lockers, replacing the cafeteria and gym lights, and replacing the cafeteria sound system. Our architects came up with about $13 million in improvements, and the school board cut that down to $6.4 million for this bond referendum. Many residents have also asked why we have to have the bond now. Oaklyn's last bond is fully paid off, so the district has the financial capacity to issue new bonds. In addition, these major repairs have been accumulating all this time and now need to be done. Residents have also asked why the repairs weren't done before now. The answer is that for the past several years, the state hasn't funded school districts according to their own Department of Education formulas. This has pushed more and more of the regular everyday costs down to local districts who already have tight budgets. When the school board drafts its annual budget, About 94% of its funds are pre-allocated. That leaves only about 6% up to the board's discretion. Within that 6%, the board covers costs for books, supplies, field trips, athletics, music, and major repairs. Having only 6% of the budget as discretionary seems pretty unbelievable to most people, so this graph shows exactly how the money is divided up. About 59% goes to contracted salaries and benefits, about 18% for tuition to Collingswood High School, about 11% for special education, and the remaining small pieces for operations and maintenance, utilities, transportation, and insurance. All other educational expenses come under the 5.8% slice of the pie. So why weren't the repairs done before? As you've seen, very little of the budget is discretionary, so a bond is really the only viable option schools have to pay for major repairs. Under the budget caps passed a few years ago, the state removed board's ability to carry a reasonable buffer to handle unexpected repairs. That limit is 2% of the annual budget. These budget caps and other restrictions make it more difficult for schools to complete projects in stages. While it may sound reasonable to do a roof repair in stages by doing just a little bit each year, these limitations make it very hard for schools to actually perform repairs that way. Now let's talk about what all this is going to cost. First, the state is committed to reimburse 40% of the total cost back to Oaklyn in the form of debt service relief over the life of the bond. That means that our local share is about $166 per year for the average Oaklyn home over the current tax rate. The state has also targeted about 80% of Oaklyn's aid increase for next year to go directly to property tax relief, reducing the personal impact of the bond. Moreover, the school board is currently projecting a 4 to 11 cent decrease in next year's school budget. A very popular question has been why school construction costs so much. Architects estimate the cost of the construction based on raw materials and the prevailing wages. The schools must use state-approved contractors. That means that those contractors must be eligible to bid on school district contracts, they must be bonded, and they must carry multiple insurances. Moreover, major projects have to be completed during the 12-week summer break. That means that both demand and rates are increased for those contractors. Although school construction is expensive, Oaklyn is doing everything it can to keep costs down. First, Oaklyn will select the lowest qualified bidder for each project. The bidding uses the state-approved fair and open process. The bidding process and the contract award are all done out in the open, and everything is above board. No backroom deals and no secret agreements. Also, Oaklyn is hiring a clerk of the works to oversee the construction. The clerk's job is to reduce delays and cost overruns by providing day-to-day supervision and resolving disagreements between contractors. This is a shared service with the Salem County Schools, which reduces the costs even further. After March 11th, what happens if the voters say no? First, this vote cannot be overturned by mayor and council. Unfortunately, delaying the bond means that the cost for construction, though, will only increase. The district will need to start the referendum process again by resubmitting its plans to the state, and the needed major repairs will not be done, increasing the chance of emergency repairs. Suppose, for example, that the school's heater stops working. First, the school is closed by law until the heater is fixed. Then, the district purchases a replacement at higher cost without the 12-week competitive bidding process. This is because the heater is treated as an emergency purchase. The school board then must get approval from the state to exceed their budget, and the district, moreover, is not eligible for the 40% state rebate because it's done outside of a bond purchase. This means that the overall cost to repair the heater is much higher. Finally, many residents ask what's in it for them. This bond is an investment in our community. Studies show that well-maintained public schools increase local property values and improve test scores. Maintaining our school preserves a valuable asset used and shared by the community. Our school is a community center used by many groups for many activities. For example, we host spring fling, sports sign-ups and games, blood drives, award ceremonies, the Halloween parade, OMASAC activities, the American Legion concert night, and town celebrations. Our school is truly a thriving and integral part of our community. To sum it all up, this referendum provides a manageable and fiscally prudent way to plan for the school facilities needs for now and for the foreseeable future. If you have any questions on the bond, please feel free to visit our school website at www.oaklyn.k12.nj.us and look for the Referendum Central banner, or contact Mr. Tommy Stringer, our superintendent, at 856-858-0335, extension 500, or email tstringer@oaklyn.k12.nj.us. at oaklyn.k12.nj.us.